Talking Point is up next. We look at travel disruptions caused by the recent unrest in Bangkok and Europe's volcanic ash cloud. One expert tells us how she would help Singaporeans stranded overseas.
We try to pacify them, of course, as much as we could, and also look for alternative plans for them.
Hello, welcome to Talking Point. It's the school holiday season when many Singaporeans travel overseas. Some of you may already have worked out your plans and will probably have a smooth and safe holiday. But the best plans can sometimes be upset. During the recent political unrest in Bangkok, Singaporeans were advised not to travel there, while the fallout from the ash cloud in Europe disrupted travel plans for weeks. How prepared are you in dealing with the crisis situation overseas? We have Jai S. Sohan, Director of Consular at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Tony Ridley, Director of Security Services from the International SOS, and Rochelle Chan from travel agency Chan Brothers Travel. Now, welcome to the show. Straight into it, Jai, when does the ministry decide, under what circumstances does the ministry decide to issue a travel advisory?
Thank you, Deborah. A most topical question given the recent developments in Bangkok. Any decision to issue a travel advisory is not taken lightly. There must be a reason to do so, and the travel advisory will be a reflection of the ground situation in the affected area. Before we issue a travel advisory, we do a thorough assessment about the situation and its potential to lead to a loss of lives or harm to Singaporeans. This is a very rigorous process.
So what are some of the things that you consider in your rigorous process?
Basically, factors such as the number of Singaporeans in a particular vicinity, issues of whether the government continues to retain control. Thirdly, are they just demonstrations? Are they protesting? Are there live shots being fired? Fourth, the political signature of any travel advisory.
When you say political signature of any, what do you mean by that extra?
Basically, it will be an issue of what our travel advisory will mean to the country that we are imposing the travel advisory on. Okay,
so ostensibly you would be more constrained because we are part of the government. You have to deal with government's feelings. Tony, how about you? I mean, when does International SOS issue travel advisories?
Well, we have a much lower threshold and obviously a much more commercial one, whereby we're not bound by the limitations of political, cultural and economic sensitivities. We look at the situations, and as soon as we identify a situation where individual life, safety and security is at risk, or a catastrophic event may be unfolding, we will issue a travel advisories, and we will aim that at our customers who essentially pay the bills.
So how often would you have issued a travel advisory, let's say in the last 6 months?
Well, that's driven by the events rather than our reporting process. So we could have a knock-on effect. We could have multiple events in a single day. It's not unusual. We have a scheduled broadcast twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening, and we may send an additional supplement once during the course of that day or several during the course of the day. So it can get pretty busy at times.
Okay, let's talk about Bangkok, because the situation was developing over several weeks and months. When would you have sent out the travel advisory against travelling there?
Well, see, there are two different questions. One is against travelling to that location. The other one is about the information. The information we've been sending on a daily, almost hourly basis, and we have a number of processes to do that. In terms of issuing a do not travel notice, which we did for a small percentage because of the affected areas, we typically do that before the situation gets out of control or before the situation gets to a point where there's nothing anyone else is going to be able to do after the fact. So it could be hours, it could be days, it could even be weeks before the situation gets to a point where people are even at risk.
Rochelle, how about you? I mean, I'm sure many Singaporeans travel to Bangkok, to Thailand still, throughout the whole period. When would you advise your clients not to travel to a particular place or to Bangkok?
Basically, for travel agent, we will wait for the advisory from airlines, from Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and then we will actually contact our customer, who are within the affected period of time, to advise them to either postpone their trip or to actually cancel or make other arrangement.
Okay, let's talk about the situation we had just last week about Bangkok. How prepared was the ministry to evacuate Singaporeans from Bangkok? How prepared were we? What level of alert did we go up to?
Evacuation is a very strong word and holds very, very strong meaning for Singapore. Evacuation will take place if there is a total and complete breakdown in the law and order situation in the country, and the government is no longer in control and able to guarantee the safety of Singapore nationals overseas. We have various kinds of contingency plans in place. We have SOPs. SOPs are never static. They are dynamic, they are flexible, and takes into consideration the evolving situation. So while Bangkok was a draggy situation, I think close to 2 months, we had in place all the plans. It's a question of what were the triggers. Paramount to MFA is the safety and security of Singapore nationals overseas. If there is a need to issue a travel advisory, no, do not go, we will do so.
Okay.